What is up, everybody? How's it going? Ryan here, back with you again for another episode of This Week in Hearthstone, episode number 24 for April 4th, 2019. Welcome, guys. Evening. I just want to preference this episode by saying that this is going to be a abnormally long episode. If it's your guys' first time here, if it's your guys' many times here, well, welcome back. We are glad to have you here. This is a podcast where we take news about Hearthstone and kind of condense it down to a consumable episode. Most episodes are under 30 minutes long, but it seems that we're in card reveal season and we've had the card dump as well, so this is going to be a very long episode. Before we really get into it, though, I just wanted to announce that we are on Spotify and iTunes. So if you guys ever want to check us out on there, you can check out the links in the episode description as well. And don't forget to follow on there. Also, we do stream this podcast over on Twitch. We record and stream it over there. So I will do my best, especially with this podcast, when cards come out, I will do my best to try to cover the cards for you audio listeners, but I do apologize if I don't get all of the information down for you guys. I will try my best. So twitch.tv/Ryan Kubo, probably the best place to go if you want a visual guide of any and all of the podcasts that are being discussed and stuff. So kind of jumping into it with a couple of more announcements. This is just a reminder, the expansion does come out as of this recording in 5 days. So April 9th, 2019 is when the expansion will come out. Usually it comes out around 10 a.m. PST. So keep that in mind as well. This is probably going to be your last chance to pre-order. I'm not sponsored by Blizzard. Just want to kind of give a PSA out there to anyone who stumbled upon the podcast. April 9th, 2019. Next 5 days from the recording of this is going to be the last time you can pre-order. There's a $50 bundle. There is an $80 bundle that you guys can pre-order. Those pre-orders will be going away. Also keep in mind, and I don't want to get too in depth with it, but remember, certain cards are rotating out with this Year of the Dragon, and you will get a full dust refund for any of those cards that you own. There are various guides online that you can check out. Remember to craft those cards if you want some extra dust as well. Finally, the pre-order Fireside Gathering event for your that you can play publicly or at home is tomorrow. So you can go check out Fireside Gatherings at Play Hearthstone to try to find one locally to you. You can also just make one in the privacy of your own home. Remember, this is the Fireside Gathering where you are allowed to open up just your pre-order packs and make a deck out of just your pre-order cards. So keep that in mind as well, that is tomorrow, April 5th, 2019 is when those will start happening. You guys do need to register and make a Fireside Gathering and have it get approved, it takes a couple of hours to do. So if you did want to open up your pre-order packs early, you can do that. You can also just go to a local event. I know that there's a ton of them around where I live, and there's probably a lot more on the website. So go check out that if you want to go meet up with some Hearthstone friends, open your pre-order packs early. So keep that in mind as well. So before we really jump into the card review, we actually do have some non-card review announcements that we want to get through. First off, this morning, Thursday, April 4th at 9 a.m. PST, we did have a theory crafting live stream over on, not on the Play Hearthstone accounts actually, but it was actually on the individual accounts of Ali Straza, Kriparian, Trump, Kibler, Nicolina, and Disguised Toast. They were given early access to a client of the game that had all the cards in it from Rise of Shadows and had all the rotations. So essentially the newest patch, which we'll get to in a sec, of Hearthstone, and they were able to make decks and just verse each other. So you can kind of check out those VODs. I'm sure that they will also be uploading stuff to YouTube as well for you guys to check out and to discuss and stuff like that and to view. But if you guys want to, go check out the VODs on any of those Twitch streamers. There's links to their streams down below. Okay, last article before we really jump into card reviews. We did have a patch come out today for April 4th. It's the Rise of Shadows 14.0 patch. There is an article that is out as well talking about it. This is essentially just the pre-patch where the cards are actually in the game. You can't craft them or create them or anything like that, but you can check them out and see their flavor text and see what their golden versions look like and stuff like that, which is pretty neat. But there were some pretty major patch notes to this thing, so let's get started. First of all, Archmage Vergoth is here. It is a free legendary. It is a neutral legendary. You can get it right now, and you can play it right now in Standard in Wild as well, which is a pretty cool card. It is a 4-mana neutral legendary, 2/6, and it says at the end of your turn, cast spells you've cast this turn. Targets are random. There was some confusion with this. Keep in mind that this is a free legendary that you can get right now. Just by logging into your game client, you will receive this card. You will still get a random legendary on April 9th, next Tuesday, as well as some packs as well. So this is not replacing. It's kind of like with Mirren the Fox. People are given Mirren the Fox early, as well as login rewards for kobolds and catacombs as well. So remember to log in and get that. The choose one card up card art has been updated. It looks really, really nice, really cool. Check it out. It actually is really good. The complete my deck, or the thing that allows you to complete your deck right when you don't have enough cards, has been updated. They say it now uses a smart deck builder, complete decks from the deck selection screen with a single click, easily convert wild decks to standard. And please note that Smart Deck Builder will need some time after Rise of Shadow goes live in order to gather the necessary data to effectively suggest cards from the new set. So keep that in mind as well, that this is kind of a live AI. It's going to start learning and changing as things go on. Another thing that's not in the patch notes that kind of went under the radar is there's another quality of life change where if you don't have enough cards in your deck, or let's say you're missing 10 cards, so it's 20 out of 30. When you exit the deck and you say you don't want it to autocomplete, it will show 20 out of 30 cards for that deck. So I'll actually show you how many cards you're missing, which is really, really nice. You don't have to open the deck to see how many cards you're missing and stuff. Other than that, obviously, Rise of Shadows, it is launching April 9th. They talked about that. The Year of the Dragon is coming, so certain cards are rotating out. Remember that Arena is updating after this as well, where on April 9th, Basic, Classic, Naxxramas, Whisper of the Old Gods, Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, Witchwood, and Rise of Shadows will be the new sets that will be in Arena. Keep in mind, like we mentioned before, Hall of Fame is happening, so please craft or enchant those cards that you need to make so that they can rotate out. So Doomguard, Naturalize, Divine Favor, Baku, Gen Greymane, Gloomstag, Black Cat, Glittermoth, Merc, Spark Eel. Up to the maximum number of cards you can put in a deck, we will give you the full dust value of any cards you have that are being added to the Hall of Fame. The dust will automatically award upon logging in once the Year of the Dragon begins. Next up, we kind of heard about this a little bit earlier. There is a Shadow Bundle. Embrace the Shadows and celebrate the launch of Hearthstone from April 9th to 15th. You can get basically 9 packs in 1 arena ticket for $10, is what people are saying. They also added a bunch of events, stuff that I don't really want to get into, but they did add something from April 17th to 21st, which looks like it's going to be an Easter-themed tavern brawl. They also said that Henchmania is happening. There's only one thing to do. It doesn't really say what it does. The player get a fight for glory of your new evil lords and see if you're tough enough to be a hench person. Also, they announced another event. They said that the HCT World Championship is happening at twitch.tv/playhearthstone April 26th to 28th. They said logging in for those 2 days or 3 days or whatever you want to call it will give you daily rewards and play decks used by previous champions in that Tavern Brawl for that week. Next up, and this was kind of something that kind of was not given in detail, but they did come out with new card backs. They have the Awesome Blossom, which looks super good. It looks like a super good card back. It is the card back that you will get for winning 5 games in Standard or Wild mode for May 2019. They also came out with, or gave more details and allowed you to acquire the 3 card backs we talked about earlier this year, which was like that white Pristine Scenes, Legion Schemes, which was the green one, and the Machine Dreams. These were the 3 card backs that were added to the game that said that they would be acquired from a future promotion. We were speculating that these were from esports, like bundles or something that went to it, and maybe you got these card backs. We were wrong. It ends up being something that you don't even have to pay for. So, how do you acquire these card backs? They basically are acquired just from logging onto a device one time, and you get to have the card back forever, which is kind of cool. So Pristine Scenes is the white kind of metallic card back. That one you get from logging into an iOS device. You have Legion Schemes, which is kind of a greenish card back. You get that from logging into a Android device. And then there's the last one, which is Machine Dreams, which you get from logging into a PC or MacBook or whatever, computer client. So yeah, if you guys go to a fireside gathering, maybe meet some friends, allow them to log into the game so you can get the thing, get an emulator maybe for logging into Hearthstone on Android or something to get that. PC should be pretty easy for you guys. I've already logged in. I have an Android phone. I have an iPad, which mostly my daughter uses as iOS. And of course, I have my computer, or we wouldn't have this recording / stream going on right now. So yeah, that's all you have to do. Log into a device one time. You'll get each card back. You'll get to keep them forever and add 3 card backs to your collection, which is pretty cool. Which maybe I'll see from now on because I am using the random card back. Other than that, there was a bunch of card fixes that we can't really talk about because that would take up a lot of the episode. There's nothing crazy in here. It's mostly just fixing like card text issues and stuff like that. The update should be out for all regions right now. You can update on iOS, on Android, on computer as well. So, that being said, let us try and tackle these cards. Now, I want to do preference that we have a ton of things. It looks like we have like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 20, 22. We have probably at least 40 cards here that we do need to get through. Because of that, I do not want this podcast to be super, super long. So I will say I will try to make this go as fast as possible. I do apologize for audio listeners. You guys don't have a visual aid. I will try my best to transcribe what the card is and what the card does. That being said, I don't want to spend too much time on each card, theory crafting and stuff like that. And I don't really want to give that hardcore rating. I'm probably going to do some type of like 1 to 5 rating, 1 being it's garbage, 5 being it's probably meta breaking. That being said as well, reminder that I have not seen any of these cards at all yet. So because of that, I'm probably going to get a lot of their power or base levels like really, really wrong. So keep that in mind. Do not take my card reviews as, an end all be all. That being said, let's just get started. So Paladin Legendary is first up, called Nuzari. 10 mana, 4/12 dragon. It says Battlecry, restore both heroes to full health. Looks like actually a really good card for Control Paladin, right? It is a Paladin card. I like it. It's pretty cool that it has the same stats as Malygos, except that it's 1 higher. I like the card. It could possibly be used in a Control Paladin setup. Don't really know how Paladin would kill in this expansion, but they did have like a bunch of like healing stuff that was added to the game last expansion, right? So it's kind of flowing off of that same concept with Heal Paladin. Next up, we have Unseen Saboteur, a 6 mana 5/8 neutral that says your opponent cast a spell from their hand, targets chosen randomly. So basically, because it's a 6 mana 5/6, they're saying that it's like really good or whatever, stat wise, and because of that, your opponent is able to cast a spell from their hand. That's being said, it's if they have a spell from their hand. I don't think it's that good. I don't think it's that great. I think it's probably going to be an arena type of deck or something like that. It will also be interesting though because this kind of disrupts like combo decks for sure, right? If they have a combo piece that they want to kill or utilize some type of combo, they could play this card because this is the dirty rat, but for spells, right? I think of Topsy-Turvy Priest or something, right? Where they may not necessarily want something to be casted right now. So possibly could actually be really good. I can see it as kind of a tech card for sure. Next up, we have a 2 mana 2/2 Priest card called Shadowy Figure. It is... excuse me. It is it's a priest card, no tribe, and it has a card text that reads, transform into a 2/2 copy of a friendly Death Rattle minion. It is a battle cry. Once again, Death Rattle Priest, not sure where it's going to be. The quest is gone, so it's going to be harder for them to control. I think overall it will be an interesting card. I think this is also why, I think also it's kind of good that Carnivorous Cube and stuff rotated out as well for this card. Next up, we have another Paladin card. It is a 5 mana spell called Duel. Summon a minion from each player's deck. They attack each other. Very cool card, very cool concept where it kind of thins the deck of both. Can also, once again, disrupt combo. I think that they're trying to get rid of those combo or OTK type of decks. It can definitely disrupt those type of decks for sure. It pulls them out. They fight each other if one dies. I don't see. Here's the thing. I'm trying to look at the comments. I don't really know what ends up happening. Apparently the interaction is that they actually get like recruited onto the board and they attack each other. So I guess one of them stays, one of them dies. It's totally random. If it dies, then it's gone forever. Could be actually really good for some type of, like I said, combo disruptor. Overall, pretty good card, pretty average card. Next up, we have a Hunter card. It is a 4-mana spell called Mark Shot. It says deal 4 damage to a minion, discover a spell. I think it's really good. Dealing 4 damage and then being able to, not thin out your hand and be able to acquire another Hunter spell, especially since we will probably see more play of Zul'jin now that Deathstalker Rexar is rotating out. I actually really like this card or whatever, but yeah, I think overall it's pretty good. Next up, we have a Priest Legendary, Katrina Murette. An 8-mana, 6/8 card text reads at the end of your turn, summon a friendly minion that died this game. So it's Kel'Thuzad, but instead of Kel'Thuzad being kind of somewhat broken in the sense of it's protected, where it was able to revive literally everything that you played, this one is able to just revive one friendly minion at the end of your turn. Overall, I think it's a pretty good card, and I enjoy it for sure. Overall, 4 out of 5 probably. Pretty decent card. Next up, we have a neutral card, an 8-mana 3/12 called Batterhead. Card text reads Rush. After this attacks and kills a minion, it may attack again. Very low health, or very low attack, I should say. Very high stat cost. Might be good in an arena type of deck. Can't really see it being used in anything else though. Overall, meh type of card. Next up, we have a Warlock card, Eager Underling. A 4-mana 2/2, give 2 random friendly minions +2/+2. It's a death rattle. Possibly really, really good with Zulok and stuff like that, but the problem is 4 mana is actually really high, right? And it has to die. I could see it probably being squeezed into a Zulok somewhere, but unfortunately, the stats or the price of it is actually really, really expensive for what Warlock is. Next up, we have a new mage card. It's called Magic Trick. It is a 1-mana spell that says discover a spell that costs 3 or less. I think this is actually really bad. I'm not really sure what they want to do with mage, to be honest. It seems like they want to go some like spell mage type of thing where then you play cards where it randomly just shoots off more spells. It seems to be kind of like casino mage that we had back in the day. Garbage card, I think, or whatever. 1 mana, you discover a spell that costs 3 or less. So what is that? Frostbolts? Maybe arcane missiles, mirrors, whatever. Not really sure if it's going to discover something beyond. Not really sure if it's going to discover something beyond a mage spell. It just says discover a spell. Might be good if it's totally random. Even then, though, that would dilute the pool a lot, and you might get some really crappy cards. I don't see this getting much play at all. Next up, we have 2 druid cards. The first one being a 2-mana. A 2-mana spell called Crystal Song Portal. Discover a druid minion. If you have no minions in your hand, keep all 3. Pretty good for a control druid if druid becomes a type of control thing, but it has to be that they have no minions in your hand. So you're not looking at something like the Omega cards. The one I'm thinking about is the Warrior one. Overall, could be pretty decent, but if control druid becomes a thing, I can see it being played. The next one is a 1-mana 2/1 with the called Fluffy Squirrel Whisper. With the card text that reads Death Rattle, add 2 1/1 squirrels to your hand. Obviously, those are going to cost 1. Yeah, not a good card. I don't think so. Can easily be. You're really paying 3. What is it? You're paying 3 mana for a 4/3. Really, because you're putting those 2 guys down, but they're in different bodies as well. Overall, I don't find it to be that great of a card, to be honest. Both of them are lackluster to me. Next up, we have a new rogue card called Vendetta. It's a 4 mana spell. Like it says, deal 4 damage to a minion, cost 0 if you're holding a card from another class. So it potentially could be really good. 4 mana is a little bit expensive since we have things like Eviscerate, but usually Eviscerate will cost around 4 mana because you need to combo it with something, right? Overall, I think it's a good card. I might see play possibly if it is yeah, I can see it being utilized for play for sure. It's going to cost 0 if you're holding a card from another class. So there's like a lot of cards where Rogue just steals something or espionages something from the opponent, and I really like this card. I think it's pretty good. I think Rogue is in a really weird spot because they've gotten some really good cards this expansion, but I don't really know if they fit to like what their normal like class play style like usually is, right? So it's kind of like weird. It's definitely for sure like weird like what they want to do with the class. Overall, though, I think it's pretty good. Next up, we have a new hunter card called 9 Lives. The 3 mana spell. It says discover a friendly death rattle minion that died this game. Also trigger its death rattle. Very good card, especially with the future of Hearthstone and stuff like that, and like the expansions that are going to come out. This looks very good because you summon it and it triggers its death rattle and you get to keep it. So even just things like Savannah Highmane or something like that, it looks like it could be like very, very good or whatever. If you want to use that or whatever. Right? So overall, very good card. I think it's solid for Hunter. Next up, we have a Warlock card called Plot Twist. It's a 2 mana spell. It says shuffle your hand into your deck, draw that many cards. Pretty cool. It's kind of like card destruction. I don't know how this would be working for in the meta or whatever, but this would actually be, I don't know, it seems like a very interesting type of card where it's able to cycle through or whatever. Usually cycle cards are just in general like very, very good. So because of that, I'm not surprised at all if this ends good, like utilized a lot in the future of the game. So overall, I think that it would be pretty decent to be honest, because card cycle in this game is just really insane. Next up, we have 2 Druid cards. The first one being a 2 mana spell called Dreamway Guardians. It says summon 2/2/2 Dryads with Lifesteal. And then the next one we have is a 3 mana minion called Life Weaver. It's a 2/5 that says whenever you restore health, add a random druid spell to your hand. So for whatever reason, Hearthstone is going through this thing where it really wants us to become like spell druid. Obviously these cards synergize together or whatever. There's a lot of healing coming with druid as well. Both of the cards I feel like are average. I don't know if I would the summon 2/1/2 Dryads, you're paying 2 mana for what? A 2/4, but with lifesteal possibly could be good. Yeah, I mean overall heal druid probably will become a thing. Next up, and we kind of already discussed this card as well. It's the Archmage Vargoth, the card that we get for free. 4 mana, 2/6 at the end of your turn. Cast a spell you cast this turn. Targets are random. It's a neutral, so it can be fit into any class. I want to see what classes this ends up going in. Mostly spell-based heavy classes, mage, and all this type of stuff. I doubt it will be in Warlock, maybe Paladin, maybe Druid. Overall, cool card. Don't know if it will actually see any type of play beyond the 5 days that we have until the next expansion though, but beyond that I think overall it's a pretty decent card. Next up we have a new rogue legendary Tack Noswhisker. It is a 7 mana 6/6 and it has the card text reads whenever you shuffle a card into your deck, add a copy to your hand. Basically whenever you, so this could see, this is interesting because the cards leaving the meta that shuffle into or cast when drawn are not that were very, very good, but now we're getting a bunch of weird cards. We're looking at something like this being utilized with like stuff that steals and shuffles into your deck. Could be pretty good, like Thief Rogue type of mechanics and stuff like that for 7 mana 6/6 and then being able to replenish your hand with it. Possibly could be really good. Overall, I see it as an above average card for sure. We have a new Paladin card. It is a twin spell called Desperate Measures. It is 1 mana. And it says cast a random Paladin secret. Super good, in my opinion. You get it twice. So basically, it is a random Paladin secret. So you could get something good, could get something bad, right? But I really like this card. Secret Paladin seems to be something that could be really, really powerful or whatever. it definitely won't make like Secret Paladin like super crazy or viable, but it's just overall a good card. I think that it helps in this whole like secret type of thing since they have a ton of secret synergy, which is kind of weird this time around. But overall, like this card, I think it's really good. Next up, we have a minion, a 10 mana 6/6 called Big Bad Archmage. With the card text that says at the end of your turn, summon a random 6 cost minion. Way too expensive for what it does, probably going to be in Arena, but usually it costs too much. It's a big card, but stats suck. I don't know if it's going to be worth it to pull off. It might just be a card that people utilize. And the 6-drop card pull is shrinking. Yeah, overall, I don't think it's that good. It costs way too much. Might be a decent card in Arena, though. Next up, we have a new Paladin card called Call to Adventure. It is a 3-mana spell that says draw the lowest cost minion from your deck. +2/+2. Once again, might be good in Control Paladin, might be good when the decks are thinning out and stuff like that as well. Giving it +2/+2 is pretty cool. But I don't know. This is one of those cards that will probably either be really, really good or really, really bad. We're not really sure how that is going to be at the end of the day. Take a drink of water here and we'll continue. Next up, we have a rogue card, a 2-mana 2/3 called Underbelly Fence. Card text that reads Battlecry. If you're holding a card from another class, gain +1/+1 and Rush. So it becomes a 3/4 with Rush. Once again, Thief Rogue, they really want to push this archetype, which is pretty cool, I guess. Overall, decent card, nothing crazy, no big flair to it. Next up, we have a Druid Legendary called Lucent Bark, an 8-mana 4/8 that says that has a card text that says Taunt, Death Rattle, go dormant, restore 5 health to awaken this minion. In my opinion, pretty bad card. An 8-mana 4/8, not that much damage, high big body. Taunt Druid becomes a thing, might be good, but you have to focus on healing. It's also gonna always be on board. This is one of those minions that you're going to randomly get off of something and it's somehow going to be summoned on your board and you're just going to be pissed off because it's going to be dormant the whole time because there's no way for you to heal 5 health for that class, right? Overall, pretty meh type of legendary for Druid. Next up, we have a Warlock card. It is a 6-mana 4/6 demon called Aranasi Broodmother. Card text that reads Taunt. When you draw this, restore 4 health to your hero. I feel, once again, it's a little too expensive for what you get out of it. A 6-mana 4/6 Taunt Demon is pretty good, but overall, and it's cool that it restores 4 health, which is essentially 2 hero-powered taps, but overall, it's a little too expensive for a Warlock minion for Constructed. Might see some type of play in Arena, though. Next up, we have a new warrior card. It is a spell. It is 10 mana, Dimensional Ripper. Summon 2 copies of a minion in your deck. Could be really good in warrior, actually, in control type of warrior. Remember, it says to summon 2 copies of a minion in your deck. So that means that you play it, it won't actually thin your deck out at all. It will just summon 2 copies of that minion, which is pretty cool. Possibly could be actually really good. The problem is that we have stuff like Omega Assembly, which will put a ton of cards in your deck and is way cheaper. That being said, though, this could possibly see play in Control Warrior. Next up, we have a 4-mana 3/3 neutral called Hench Clan Hag. Card text reads Battlecry. Summon 2 1/1 Almagans with all minion types. So the Almagams were the thing where it's that weird card that we have that is on the Everything tribe, right? Overall, though, I think that this is just an arena pick. I don't really see the point of this type of card in Constructed. But overall, pretty cool concept. I'm liking that they're bringing back that all-type minion thing again as well. Next up, we have a neutral legendary called Archivist Elysiana, an 8-mana 7/7. With the card text that reads Battlecry, discover 5 cards. Replace your deck with 2 copies of each. So I thought this was a pretty neat little card or whatever. There's a kind of like a little video if you wanted to see what the actual card does, which is probably something that's pretty important. I believe they show you it's in the video description or whatever. But yeah, you let's see here. You play the card, discover something, and yeah, you get 2 copies of whatever you discover. So you discover, I guess, 5 cards, which is kind of crazy. It looks really, really cool. So essentially, you play it, you will get 3 cards to choose from. You choose one, you get 2 of those cards, 2 copies of uh, you get two copies of that card in your deck. Then you repeat 4 times, you get a ton of cards. So it looks pretty good. Might be good in some type of I don't know, troll warrior. I don't know. It's able to refill your deck up really, really fast, right? With like a bulk of cards that you discovered. Overall, I think it's a very good card. I would rate this like pretty high, maybe 4 or 5 or 5. Next up, we have a 5 mana 4/5 neutral called Barista Lynchen. Lycan, but with the battle cry, add a copy of each of your battle cry minions in your hand. Honestly, I don't think that this card is that great. We then have another card, a exotic mount seller, a 7 mana 5/8. Whenever you cast a spell, summon a random 3 cost beast. Once again, don't think it's too good. Stats are a little too high for me to care about. Next up, we have a new warrior legendary, the Boom Reaver. It's a 10 mana 7/9 mech with the card text reads Battlecry. Summon a copy of a minion in your deck. Give it rush. Potentially, actually, could be really good. Once again, it is a copy, so it doesn't thin out your deck. It just gives it a copy and is, gives you the art to it. It is possibly playable and it gives it rush, which is really nice. Overall, I think that this card will be good if Control Warrior, which I think will be dominant in this new meta. Next up, we have a new mage card. It is a 3 mana mage spell called Conjurer's Calling. It is a twin spell. Destroy a minion, summon 2 minions of the same cost to replace it. Could possibly be really, really good in Arena, but overall, I don't think it's that great. You don't really want to kill it. There's a risk, right? You destroy a minion, and you destroy a minion in any game on your opponent's side, and you summon 2 minions of the same cost to replace it. So it's a high-costed or statted card. This might be an issue that creates, just more of heartache for you. At the same time, if you kill there are cards in Mage that are very, very low costed, right? But they're very high, like they're very weak, but they're very high costed. Like I'm thinking of the bird that allows you that if you've done 8 damage with your hero power, for example, you can summon Rag, right? You could kill that with this and summon 2 7 cost cards that are hopefully or better than what you just had, right? So there is something like that. I can see it being playable, but overall I want to say like a 3 or a 4 out of 5. Next up, we have basically the card dump. This is going to be the part that I'm really going to need to power through. We had a reveal stream that happened on, let's see. It happened on April 3rd at 10 a.m. with Brian Kibler. So keep in mind that these are all the cards that were shown off, and these are probably the last cards that we're going to be, doing. So let's power through this. Luckily, they organized it pretty well on this page as well for us to go through very quickly. First off, we have a Druid card, the last Druid card that apparently was shown off. A 3 mana spell called Blessing of the Ancients. It is a twin spell. It says give your minions +1/+1. Possibly could be pretty good because Power of the Wild is 3 mana and you give +1/+1 as well. But this one you're able to double and give even more. We could see some type of buffed aggro Druid in the future. Next up, we have the Hunter cards. We have 4 of them. We have a 4 mana 3/3 called Arcane Fletcher. Whenever you play a 1-cost minion, draw a spell from your deck. I actually really like this card, but I don't know how it will be utilized within the class itself. We don't have that many good 1-cost minions right now, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But I really personally enjoy this card for now. Next up, we have Hunting Party. Copy. It's a 5 mana card, and it says copy all beasts in your hand. Once again, if Beast Hunter is a thing, I could see this card being utilized to get a little bit more of value. Next up, we have a 3 mana 3/3 mech called Ursatron. It is a with the card text reads Death Rattle, draw a mech from your deck. They've been pushing Mech Hunter for a little bit. I'm not really sure why that's the case. Once again, it's kind of a card where I wouldn't use it on its own, but if Mech Hunter becomes a thing, it will definitely be a good way to thin out and utilize your deck better. Next up, we have a twin spell. It is a 1 mana card called Rapid Fire, and it says twin spell deal 1 damage. So it's a 2 mana for 2 damage. Might be possibly good to enrage something or to deal damage in the early game. Don't think it will be utilized that much though. It's like I might as well just use Arcane Shock. It's 1 mana, deal 2 damage, right? Next up, we have a couple of mage cards. We have a 4 mana 3/3 called Curator Tricaster. The spell damage +3, but your spells cost 1 more. That's kind of like an aura, right? That is always around there. Might be worth it for the spell damage if you can calculate it. Okay type of card. Next up, we have Magic Dart Frog, a 2 mana 1/3 beast that says after you cast a spell, deal 1 damage to a random enemy minion. I really like this card. It reminds me of Pyromancer, except less strong. There's a ton of like synergies right now with like Spell Mage being a thing and like casting random spells and what bunch of twin spells and stuff like that. Overall, I really like this card. I could see it potentially being utilized pretty well. It is a common as well, so we'll definitely be seeing doubles of it pretty easily in every deck. Next up, we have a Paladin card. It is a 2 mana 2/2 weapon called Mysterious Blade. Battlecry. If you control a secret, gain +1 attack. So it is a 2 mana 3/2 if you already have a secret on the board. Secret Paladin is a thing, right? They're trying to push. I can definitely see this being utilized. 2 mana 3/2 Fiery War Axe. Very good card. So yeah, I can see this definitely having this perk up way often than usual, at least initially. Paladin secrets are pretty disposable, unless you have something like Hidden Wisdom or something, right? That will last probably a long time because people can play around that. But overall, like this card a lot. Definitely will be utilized in the secret type of Paladin. Next up, we have 3 priest cards. We have a 5 mana 2/6 called Convincing Infiltrator. Taunt, Death Rattle, destroy a random enemy minion. Very good card for priest to have. The 2/6 taunt, so you're kind of forced to deal with it in some way and kind of figure out how to get rid of it. We have Hench Clan Shagquill. 4 mana 4/7 minion. Death Rattle, destroy, restore 5 health to the enemy hero. Right, so this is kind of like the zombie chow type of thing, where because it is a very nicely statted card, you can play this for cheap, but it does have that offset of being able to heal the hero. We then have a 4 mana spell, Unsleeping Soul. Silence a friendly minion, then summon a copy of it. I think it's pretty good, unless you've stat buffed something or whatever. Pretty decent card, though I can see being used in Arena and stuff like that. Next up, we have Rogue. We have 2 cards from them. A 4 mana 4/2 weapon called Waggle Pick. Card text that reads Death Rattle. Return a random friendly minion to your hand. It costs 2 less. Really like this type of card. I think it will be really, really good for like combo cards and stuff like that as well. If you're able to break it on your own turn. We already had cards that cost more than that for 4/2 weapons. So overall, I think it's cool. You can also equip a weapon to yourself. So because of that, you're able to break this easier if you wanted to combo something better. You also have Daring Escape, a 1 mana rogue spell. Return all your friendly minions to your hand. So it's a vanish, but only with your minions. Might be able to combo something off that with rogue. Next up, we have 5 shaman cards. They are all Murloc based, it seems, or at least 3 of them are. But the first one is a 4 mana 4/4 Murloc called Scargill. Your Murlocs cost 1. Obviously, Murloc Shaman, for some reason, is a thing that has been pushed for a while now. I'm not really sure why. It started in Journey to Un'Goro with their Murloc quest, and we will probably be seeing more of that as well. No Murloc quest in Standard right now, but in Wild might be a thing. Then we have Witch's Brew, a 2 mana. This is kind of the weird card, but it's a 2 mana spell, and it says restore 4 health, repeatable this turn. It's basically Echo. If you have 10 mana, you can play this card 5 times. If you have 6 mana, you can play this card 3 times. It essentially has Echo on the card. Next up, we have another Murloc, a 2 mana 2/3 Murloc called Underbelly Angler. After you play a Murloc, add a random Murloc to your hand. That's a way to start getting more Murloc cards in your deck. We are seeing a lot of things like Gentle Megasaur rotating out to Wild. We also are seeing just like a lot of the Murloc quest rotating out. So refreshing your hand of Murlocs is going to be actually quite annoying. We then also have Soul of the Murlocs, a 2 mana spell from Shaman. Give your minions Death Rattle, summon a 1/1 Murloc. Once again, needing something there to revitalize the Murloc pool to be able to get them to, be able to be stayed on the board. Then we have a 0 mana card called Mutate, transform a friendly minion into a random one that costs 1 more. Pretty cool. It's evolve, right? Because I believe unstable evolution is also going away. So they haven't evolved, but it's a more controlled and neutered. We have 3 warlock cards that were announced. The first one, a 10 mana 8/8 demon called Jumbo Imp, costs 1 less whenever a friendly demon dies while this is in your hand. Way too expensive, and it has to be in your hand for it to activate. If this card is drawn late into the game or even into the mid game as well, it won't be a very good card in my opinion. We then have an epic card spell, a 6 mana called Darkest Hour. Destroy all friendly minions. For each one, summon a random minion from your deck. Possibly could be really good if you have some really bad minions. You know that there's some higher statted minions in your deck. Could possibly be good to pull out some other minions and thin your deck a little bit faster than usual with using hero power. We then have a 3 mana spell called Inferno. It says give your demons +1 attack and deal 1 damage to all minions. Very good card, pretty cheap for 3 mana, can activate some crazy combos. I like it. Warrior, we have 2 cards. We have a 2 mana card called Sweeping Strikes. Give a minion also damage. Okay, so it's give a minion also damages minions next to whoever this attacks. Very good card. I really like this card as well. Can really do some damage, and you really have to think about the placement of your cards when versing a warrior now. You also have a 2 mana 2/2 mech called Vicious Scrap Hound. Whenever this minion deals damage, gain that much armor. So most likely it's just going to gain 2 damage unless it is able to be buffed by something like Dr. Boom. Overall, really enjoy this card as well. All right, home stretch here. This is a ton of cards, guys. We have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 30 still cards left. I'm going to try to go through these really quick and kind of just name them off. A lot of them are neutrals. This is all the neutrals that are in the game. Most of them, in my opinion, are just garbage. So let's get through this very quickly. We have an 8 mana 6/8 Whirlwind Tempest. Your minions with Wind Fury have Mega Wind Fury. Garbage card, too expensive in my opinion. Not many Whirlwind cards as well to base a whole deck around. 6 mana 5/6 Demon. Shuffle 3 portals into your deck. When drawn, summon a 2/2 Demon with Rush. Don't think it's a very good card. Cool artwork, but other than that, don't think it's that great. A 5 mana 2/7 Elemental. At the start of your turn, gain spell damage +2. Called Azurite Elemental. Like this card, could see it being utilized in Mage and other spell-based classes. We have Magic Carpet. I actually like this card. 3 mana 1/6. After you play a 1-cost minion, give it +1 attack and rush. Might see some synergy with the tokens that we're seeing. We also see that with the lackeys and stuff like that as well, since that will be a heavily utilized mechanic within this expansion. Overall, could see it being used. 7 mana 3/7 Tunnel Blaster. Taunt. Death Rattle. Deal 3 damage to all minions. Once again, I think it's a little too expensive for what it can do. 7 mana 3/5 Underbelly Ooze. After this minion survives damage, summon a copy of it. Once again, too expensive. If it was a little cheaper, it might be really, really good. 6 mana 4/4 Demon. Mad Summoner. Battlecry. Fill each player's board with 1/1 imps. Hate this card. Think it's stupid. To give your opponent any type of demons or something is really annoying. The thing is that they'll just mostly be able to clear off the demons as well the next turn, so it's not going to stop them from probably playing anything. They'll be able to just clear everything off fairly easily. 5 mana 3/6 Reoccurring Villain. Death Rattle. If this minion has 4 or more attack, summon it. You would have to buff it in some type of way. Even with Undertaker, would only resummon Undertaker 1 time. Not really sure if it's worth it for him to use this Death Rattle and sacrifice another. 5 mana 4/4 called Sun Reaver War Mage. Battlecry. If you're holding a spell that costs 5 or more, deal 4 damage. Possibly could be very, very good tech card with certain type of spell-based classes. Be able to destroy or to neutralize certain things. 4 mana 5/2. What? Oh, there's another one, I guess. Weird. It seems to be the same text. Maybe this is wrong. 4 mana 5/2. Shuffle 3 portals and check. When drawn, summon a 2/2 demon with rush. So I don't know why, but a bunch of these cards are having there's 2 of them. I don't know. I don't understand it. It has the same effect as the last one. I don't know why this is a thing. I guess it fits with the whole theme of Rise of Shadows they're invading. But a 5/2 is really bad for 4 mana. It's just gonna die. Arcane Watcher, a 3 mana 5/6, can't attack unless you have spell damage. Don't think it's going to be good. 9 mana 9/9 Rush, Burly Shovel Fist, too expensive, might see play in Arena. An 8 mana 4/4 Heroic Innkeeper, taunt Battlecry, gain +2/+2 for each friendly minion. Once again, Arena card, I think it's a little too expensive. Could possibly do good, but too easily cleared in Standard. A 6 mana 6/4 called Eccentric Scribe. The Death Rattle, summon 4/1/1 Vengeful Scrolls. I don't know what a Vengeful Scroll is, though. Yeah, doesn't say what it is. But yeah, not a very good card. Might be seen in Arena. 6 mana 4/5 Mech called Safeguard. Card text reads Taunt. Death Rattle, summon a 0/5 Vault Safe with Taunt. Yeah, it's Sledge Belcher 2.0 or whatever. It might be really good because in Control Warrior, a lot of the taunts are rotating out, but not really sure how I feel about this card. It's going to probably be a meh type of card. Next up, we have Violet Warden, 6 mana 4/7, taunt, spell damage +1. Could see some usage in spell damage based decks. The problem is it's going to be targetable because it has taunt, and I'm not sure if the spell damage +1 will be worth it. Next up, we have a 5 mana 5/4 Dalaran Crusader, has Divine Shield, doesn't have charge, won't see play at all. Next up, we have Soldier of Fortune. Whenever this minion attacks, give your opponent a coin. It's a 4 mana 5/6 elemental, really bad. You probably almost never want to give your opponent a coin. It's going to compensate and overcompensate them and be able to catch up or whatever. Bad card overall. Next up, we have a 4 mana 2/6 called Proud Defender. Taunt has +2 attack while you have no other minions. Really bad card, too expensive. Violet Spellword, 4 mana 1/6, gain +1 for each spell. Gain +1 attack for each spell in your. Possibly could be good in Spell Mage. Overall, I think it's really bad. 3 mana 5/1, comp a friendly minion's health. Faceless Rager. Hey, the Magma Ragers and all that stuff are getting a little bit better, I will say. Possibly actually could see play, depending on how good of health you're able to copy this from. 3 mana 3/3 Hench Clan Sneak. It has stealth, type of card. Flight Master, 3 mana 3/4, summon a 2/2 Griffin for each player. Don't like cards that summon for both people. You don't have to clear it off, type of card. 2 mana 2/3 called Arcane Servant Elemental. No word on this card. This actually could be pretty good on its stats as just like a neutral card. It's definitely playable, but there's nothing like special about it, right? It's just a boring card. Overall, might be playable. 2 mana 3/2. Battlecry, if you have spell damage, draw a card. It's called Spellbook Binder. Meh. Next up, we have 2/2. Our 2 mana 2/3 Sunreaver Spy. Card text reads Battlecry. If you control a secret, gain +1/+1. So at best, it will be a 2 mana 3/4. Could see some play in Secret Paladin. Next up, we have Mana Reservoir, 2 mana 0/6, spell damage +1. Once again, actually could see play because of its high health and hard to clear. Dalaran Librarian, 2 mana 2/3. Battlecry, silence adjacent minions. Once again, might actually be good because it is a 2 mana 2/3. But you are able to silence a minion next to you. And if you get something that's possibly does something destructive, might be able to be good with it. We have a 1 mana 1/1 Battlecry, restore 2 health to all friendly characters. Potion Vendor, could see being played in Zulok, pretty good. And lastly, we have another Murloc, a 1 mana 1/2 called Toxfin. Battlecry, give a friendly Murloc poisonous. Actually, could be really good in Murloc Shaman. Whew. With that, that is it. We are able to get through all those cards very, very fast. You might have to slow me down and stuff like that, but that is it. That is all the cards for Rise of Shadows. I just want to thank you guys all for coming out to this episode. I really do appreciate it. Remember, like I said or mentioned at the top of the episode, the expansion is coming out April 9th, 2019. That is next Tuesday on your calendars. Mark that day. It usually comes out around 10 a.m. PST California time. You'll have to adjust that to whatever region you guys live in. Remember that there is going to be a $9.99 bundle, which comes with 9 packs and arena ticket. There's also Tavern Brawl that we didn't discuss today as well that gives you a free pack. We're also going to get login packs as well as a free legendary. If you log in now, remember that you get that one mage card that our neutral mage card, neutral card that does magey stuff, I guess you'd say, for free. And remember, there are 2 pre-order bundles that will go away, an $80 pre-order bundle and a $50 pre-order bundle. I wish you guys luck. The next time that we talk, it will be 2 days after the expansion. I will have been playing a ton of Hearthstone, at least more than I usually have right now since the meta kind of was blah. But we're almost there. 5 more days. Meta will shift, the meta will change, and we'll have some fun experimenting with new cards. So yeah, we have a little bit. The next episode that we have will be on April 11th. So 2 days after it, we'll probably talk about what we see, what we've experienced, how the meta's been treating us, and stuff like that. So I will see you guys then. I hope that you guys' pack pulls and draws are also going to be amazing that day as well. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. As always, check us out on Spotify and iTunes if you guys want to have audio versions of the podcast. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram and Twitch at Ryan Kubo, RyanKubo. Also on YouTube, Shigeos Twitch TV, SHIGEOS Twitch TV. If you ever want to check out the VODs of any of the podcasts we talk about here, all those links and all the cards are linked in the episode description down below in the show notes link. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I appreciate it. Good luck with your pack pulls and hope that Hearthstone's Rise of the Shadows treats you well. Take care, guys. Peace.